All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for more One Piece. We're off from break because, oh my goodness! Emo is here! So I need to calm down. So let's go ahead and get started. I see you, Cohagen. I see you, Holster. Let's begin, shall we? Yo, peoples! Qushu 92 here. Welcome back to One Piece. In the last chapter we had, Emu was fully revealed, fully shown in all of his malevolent majesty. We see him. Nerona Emu. I don't even know how to respond. Like to properly react to the fact that we saw Emu. We see Emu for the first time, and he is on top of the Aris castle. So let's just get to it. Let's just get to it. Chapter 1180, Omen. What you mean, Omen? Like a ill omen? Like a ill omen? Like a bad omen? Huh? Chapter 1180. We are 20 chapters away from 1200 chapters of One Piece. Just think about that. Reader request: Vegapunk modifying Zeus to rain candy instead of water by honey liquor. And of course we have Vegapunk here, along with Nami enjoying some candy rain, and Chopper's in heaven right now. Chapter 1180, Omen. Oh! We see Emu fully! Now, mind you, the Western Village and Aris Castle are surrounded by a wall of fire from the 5 pillars of the magic circle that Emu came in on. The houses, the possessed houses are moving and making sounds. And then all of a sudden, Emu disappears. Like, Dororon, Dororon. Don don dororororona, ooh, don don dororororona. It's just like, ah! And then he just disappears. He just disappears and lands in the middle of all of the giants, surprising both Stanzen and Harudin. And then he speaks. Well, who is the king of this land? And we have Emu standing there, flowing long hair, skin tone changed as if he's part Lunarian or something. But we see him in his full visage, baggy pants. And the pants themselves, the crazy thing, the pants themselves wrap around his legs as if they're like a stream of some sort. Or if it's like part of his tail, he has a massive cloak on him. His whole fit gives me massive Eneru vibes. But it's way more, I want to say, chaotic, but he speaks. Who is the king of this land? And then we get Dory and Brogy. And who do you think you are? This land has no king. And then it shows Emu looking directly at Somers. Because remember, Somers is being held by, Goldberg and Gerd right now. And Somers is screaming, Great One! And all of a sudden, Gerd's fingers get sliced off. Gerd's fingers have been sliced off and winds up dropping Somers. What art thou doing, Somers? And Gerd is kind of taken aback because of how fast this happened. Huh? Gerd! And Zoro sees this as well, and he immediately starts moving. while Somers' body parts fall to the ground along with Gerd's fingers. Ah! Gerd's fingers! Bastard! And then also the houses. Sorry. The houses behind are still, singing and chanting. And we get Chopper going,
how gruesome! Who is that guy?
And then Zoro, Rora Noah, stand on business. Zoro is in front of Emu already. And Somers pieces himself back together while also grabbing his, metal heart. Got it. And Zoro, swords brandished, already out, goes, are you in the Knights of God too? And Emu is just looking at him. Either way, he's an enemy! Harudin! Stay back, Harudin! As Zoro's in front of Emu and Harudin is preparing to hit Emu. Emu still doesn't move. And Stanzin kicks Harudin out of the way just in time for Emu to slice through his leg. Emu was going to slice Harudin in half. We don't know what he can do! And that's when Emu slices his leg off with his staff. Gah! Stanzin! Gah! Stay away from him! And Stanzin's crying out in pain. I'm sorry, Stanzin. Who is that? And then we get Zoro. We get Zoro going, King of Hell, Three-Sword Serpent, Purgatory, Onigiri! And Emu blocks Zoro. Emu blocks Zoro with his... No, this is Thrag. If y'all been watching Invincible, this is Thrag. When Thrag started fighting, everyone was calling out Thrag being on Fraud Watch, and everyone went silent when Thrag started fighting. This is literally the Thrag moment. He's starting to body people. It's over. The final boss of One Piece is fighting, and he's dealing with Zoro like he's nothing. I'm out. I am out. I'm done. What do you mean? He blocks Zoro's full on. Mind you, this is a Conqueror's Haki imbued attack right now. This is his strongest style, imbued with Conquerors, and Emu just blocks him with his tail and doesn't even look at him. And then Emu, without even looking at him, goes full Gojo with Omen. And a black flame appears in his hand, and he has it right in front of Zoro's face. And he sends Zoro flying. He sends Zoro flying. Like he just puts his hand forward, and then it's just like curse technique reversal, red, and sends Zoro flying.
Zoro!
And then Harudin is right above Emu, and Emu does the same thing, but puts another hand on top and causes like this evil imp ball to come out, and then Harudin is completely engulfed in the explosion. He's completely engulfed in the explosion.
Harudin!
And Harudin is out. Harudin is down. Zoro's down. Harudin is down. And they're saying,
what are these black flames?
And Emu creates a ring of black flames and puts it around Somers. Ah, yes, Omen! And Emu speaks. Make haste, Somers. There is little time. Yes, great one. And Somers and Emu just take off into the sky. They just start flying. And when Emu flies away, the possession of the houses subsides.
Zoro, get inside! Everyone else, gather up the injured and the knocked out kids!
And Yarl's just looking, and Emu is just flying in the air while the warning goes out. Warning to all of Elbaf! Some kind of being greater than the Knights of God has landed on the island! Be on guard! And Emu has created giant wings for himself. Mind you, despite his visage, the wings themselves are not, demon-like. They're, feathery. This gives me strong Lucifer vibes. Strong Lucifer vibes. And Emu's just flying through the air with his wings. What? What's here now? You mean it's not over? Keep your weapons on you! We've had enough of the fires and collapses! And Emu is flying, and he sees the container of ice that Gunko is stuck inside. And then flips his staff around, and the blunt half of his staff that is just made up of black clouds shoots out another one of those imp bombs, and it basically explodes the entire block as he flies past. Where is Emu going? Is he going to find Luffy and Loki? Is he going to get Luffy and Loki? Team Gaben by the lift, Sunworld. What's going on? Even at God Valley, I never felt hockey like this. Walrus School.
You jarred it!
Beggars can't be choosers. It's better than being frozen. Now stockpile your energy. I think we've got a real monster on the island now.
I think so. Hot.
So it shows Loki, Luffy, and Ragnar all getting their fill to get their energy back up. Then we get Nami running to the rest of the crew.
Hey, what's happening?
I don't know, but the hockey is tremendous. If it's an ally of the Knights of God. They might be after. And we get Killingham. Who's suddenly freed. Huh? Great one! Thank you for the omen. Hey, who's that? And it shows Emu right there at the Walrus School. And a big, massive band of electricity. It could be hockey, just emanating from him as he's right here in front of the rest of the Straw Hat crew. And Sanji starts running towards Emu, going, "Who said you could release him?" And he uses Ifrit Jamba, and he goes to kick Emu. And Emu blocks Sanji with his own foot. And when that happens, mind you, remember, Emu is giant size right now, or at least much larger than the average human, because he's way bigger than Sanji at this size. He might as well be either Big Mom or Kaido size. That's how big Emu is right now. He deflects Sanji, and before Sanji could even properly, really fully get himself guarded, Emu swings his heel around, and it looks like he's just using Conquerors with these attacks in general. And he kicks Sanji, and the whole area explodes. Sanji, no! Whoa! What are these black flames? And then a giant foot slams down next to Emu. Hey, what do you want with Elbaf? And then Emu speaks again. I search for the killer of my faithful servant Harold, who was slain here 14 years past. He was not your servant. Harold was my father, the king of Elbaf. And I'm the man you're looking for. I see. If not for thee, all this trouble would be avoided. Here in the real world, you deal with me and Elbaf. Remember that, clown. And we have Loki standing up to the very man that caused the downfall of his own father, the source of all of his greatest ires. It's gonna be Loki versus Emu. It doesn't say we're going on break. I am terrified. Okay. I am terrified. Let me see what you. That's the end of the chapter. That's the end of the chapter. Emu just appeared in front of everyone, and he's already dismembered people. Okay, Gerd is missing fingers. She's missing fingers. Her fingers got sliced off. Have we ever seen a woman in this series be dismembered before? I don't mean sliced apart by law. I mean actual dismemberment. And they're not a Logia user. Just, have we ever seen a woman suffer this much damage before? He slices off her fingers, frees Sommers, frees Killingham, frees Gunko, slices off the leg of Stanzin, who managed to save Harudin from suffering an even worse fate. Blasts away Zoro like he's nothing, blocking his Conqueror's Haki-imbued King of Hell style, Purgatory Onigiri, and sends him flying like he's nothing. Literally sent dude flying as if he used Hollow Purple. Just flicked him away. Didn't even do any hand gestures. He just went like, and then the blast came out and knocked away Zoro. Did the same to Harudin. Even worse, Harudin got engulfed in the blast. And then did the same to Sanji, except kicked him and his foot exploded. Hold on, being called. Okay. This dude had the same moment. Hold on. I don't know why the app won't let me see what you guys are saying. I'm trying to see what you're saying. There we go! Let me go through this whole list. I'm excited for this chapter. Let's see what Emu can do. And he's a man. Yo, I'm here. Let me get my other phone. Oh boy, I hope Chopper can fix Gert's fingers. Just the ones holding Somers. Yeah, just the ones holding Somers. So her thumbs, her index fingers, and her middle fingers. Those got sliced off. Some spit and stitches will do, no worries. Man, Zoro's something else. I like his upstanding character. I'm telling you now, Harudin would have died right there if it wasn't for Stanzin. That's what I'm saying. Flip 2, good to see you. Looney, good to see you as well. I had mentioned that Emu was like Katakuri size. He's huge. I got a feeling this is going to be their moment where they gotta have to train. Amaterasu Rinnegan. Did he just one-shot Zoro? He one-shot Zoro. You know, the same person that says, I will never lose in a fight again. And he just got... Now, here's the thing. If I'm checking over this... If I'm looking at this correctly, because I'm trying to make sense of this one particular panel, is that Zoro right here? That's Zoro. He's hurt. That's Zoro. He's hurt, and he's laying on the ground after being blasted. That's Zoro because he's got the 3 swords on his scabbard. Like, they're all there. But Zoro just got blasted by this move called Omen. Usopp, what have you done? Of all the people to rage bait, Emu must have heard the allegations around Zoro. Ah, shucks, if they're eating this mean this fight's gonna be lit. He's going after Robin. Also, am I crazy, or do Somers and Killigam have those black halos around them now? Yes! Emu gave them omens. We don't know what the omens do, but apparently it gives that person the power of flight because both Emu and Summers just took off into the sky. So these Emu can give you even more power. What do you mean? He can give you immortality. He can give you an even stronger body. And if he gives you an omen ring, you straight up get the ability to fly. That's another ability he has. Had a feeling Sanji was going to get one shot too if Zoro did. If Zoro can get one shot, Sanji definitely can. Loki, hope you're ready for this one. It's going to get real ugly real fast. That's what I'm saying, Ozzy. We got Loki versus Emu. What is Emu going to do? I'm terrified because we just seen this man appear in front of everyone and then proceed to one-shot everyone that actually tried to square up against him with not even a single speck of dust on him. The strongest people from the Straw Hat crew, including ones that can use conquers, Zoro and Sanji, who has an even more powerful body because his augmentations have long since activated, they got swatted away. Swatted away like they were nothing. It wasn't even a real clash with Zoro versus Emu. Emu didn't even look at him. He didn't even look at him. See, with Nasjuro, it was like, oh, you're using a Kitetsu? I'm using a Kitetsu. Interesting. He looked at Zoro. Emu not even paying attention. It's like that one time when Dr. Octopus was fighting Spider-Man at the end of Spider-Man 2, and Mary Jane was trying to sneak up on him and hit him, and he didn't even look at her, and two of the tentacles that he had grabbed the big old 2x4 that she was going to use and then just tossed her away without even looking, just casually deals with Zoro. Even the omen he used on him didn't even look at him. That Loki and Emu panel reminds me of that Kaido panel. Yeah, when it comes, people say, in land, air, or sea, always bet on Kaido. Him standing over Emu is kind of reminiscent of Kaido standing over Kid, Apu, Hawkins, and basically everybody else there that was there on that one island, way after, like a little while after Dressrosa. No break. I was about to say Kiku, but then again, never mind. I feel the tense is going to be on a rise going forward, and fingertips are that which have nerve endings, and a lot of them, so that's the most painful to cut. Yeah, getting your hand cut off, that's bad, but getting your fingers cut off where your sensitivity is most sensitive. Literally, when you're feeling for stuff, you're feeling with your fingertips, right? See, feeling with your palm is different than feeling with your fingertips because the contours of your fingertips feel everything. So Gerd had the most sensitive parts of her hand just straight sliced off. Her pointer fingers and thumbs be haunt the same fate as one of my pinky fingers, and fingertips of that which have never be having the same fate as one of my pinky fingers. Usopp somehow got out the easiest. Ain't that crazy? Out of everyone that's faced off against Emu, Usopp is the one who suffered the least. Usopp and Brook. Usopp suffered the least. Everybody else out here getting dismembered, getting legs chopped off, getting fingertips chopped off, getting blasted with hellfire. It's crazy. Cover your mouth. I'm talking about food, Mr. I Can Read Lips. Yeah, because he was dealt with before the main body got here. Of course he will. You know how Luffy gets when it comes to his friends. Yeah, Luffy. Luffy lost it when Usopp was shown to be beaten by Emu possessing Gunko. Imagine how he's gonna feel when he sees literally some of his top people of his crew, some of his top strongest people of his crew, especially his second in command, who said, I'm never going to lose again. Imagine how Luffy's going to feel seeing him bodied on the ground, too. I can imagine JD's reaction when he's seeing Zoro getting KO'd. I guess they're stronger now. Zoro got the Krillin treatment after getting punted by Rikun. Rikun. Oh, that's what you meant. I can't help but be reminded of Emu as a Hikomori, a shut-in. The toxicity of them reminds me of Twitter online users and the way they use their people with the covenants like player characters in a game. The way they arrived on here reminds me of someone logging in with their main account. This just might be their original character. I may be going too far. What if Loki can somewhat match Emu since Emu uses Omen and that Omen has eyes? And what if Loki has something similar with his eyes to match it? I don't think that has anything to do with Loki's abilities, though. Because in order for that to make sense, Loki would have to be able to do something with his eyes. But as we can clearly see, Emu's powers go beyond what normal devil fruits can do. Ravi, good to see you. Emu's powers go beyond what we have seen with regular devil fruit powers. Because out of every devil fruit that exists within One Piece, Emu's powers is simply called the devil's fruit. It's not like devil no mi. It's not like aku no mi. It's not a devil fruit. It's not a demon fruit. It's not something that has dual instances of its type being said. Not confirmed to be a devil fruit yet. See, that's the thing. His power is just simply called the devil's fruit. So for all we know, his power goes beyond even what regular devil fruit powers can do. What if he may have the devil's eyes? Who? If you're talking about Loki, I want to know where you get that, where that comes into play. Because if you mean like the way his eyes look, I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's just like, mutation. Why of all One Piece characters, he has those eyes? Gonna be honest, I'm not liking Loki's odds here. I don't think he gets one shot, but he's definitely ain't winning. So here's my thing. The powers of the Nika fruit and the powers of the Needhogger fruit are powers that Emu has been wanting to have. Harold died. So now the whole prospect of trying to, Domi Reversi Loki is pretty much out the window because both Loki and Luffy just straight up resisted it. So now the question is, what does Emu intend to do, knowing that both of these powers exist in the same space and he's here now? What does he intend to do? Because he's over here freeing all of his holy knights. Really want this to be a loss, a retreat? Flip, I may have to agree with you there. This is not something that Luffy and company are just going to straight up win. It's not. Emu showed up and has been one-shotting everyone. Just putting it out there, because why Loki, and seeing Loki not even fearing him about to face Emu, it's like he's laughing at Emu. Most people who don't have fear behave that way anyway, so it's not something that's specific to Loki. It may be another time skip light? Nah. You realize we waited 2 years for a time skip, right? 2 years. And then 6 months for Oda to finalize the entire final saga. So no, we ain't getting no time skip, because a time skip means that's plenty of time for some bad stuff to go down. It's a bad situation. Again, I can't help but look at this through the eyes of a game like League of Legends, where someone just spawns in and destroys everyone in the map. It's like unlocking the most powerful character in a Muso game, and then just going back to like the first stage. Or unlocking the most OP character in a game and switching the difficulty to very easy, and then proceeding to just go through the entire game with this literal most overpowered character. Like playing Sandalphon in Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. After playing through on the hardest difficulty, and then switching it down to like basically story mode where you can just one-shot everything, and you're just ridiculously overpowered. It is literally that. It's that situation. Emu came here, showed up, and one-shot everyone, and then also freed every single one of his knights. And the last thing he sees is Loki preparing to face him down, because Loki, out of, himself and Luffy, Loki's the only one who's able to stand up and keep fighting. Luffy's still crazy tired. That joke about a Speedy. Let me see. There's multiple characters with weird eyes, to be fair. Emu, Loki, Mihawk, Cavendish with Hakuba, and there's probably some more characters I'm forgetting. Many share that sentiment. Ohara comes to mind. They will just have to lick their wounds and come back stronger. No time skip needed. I don't know. I'll just have to wait. But none of those eyes have special powers. Ohara. Yeah, Ohara. I think retreating to the heaven layer of Elbaf might be the best thing Oda can do. And here's the thing. We haven't even gotten to the top of Elbaf even. So we don't fully know what's lurking up there, what's up there fully. I don't think the mural that spoke of the 3 different worlds is up there. I think it's just a little bit higher above the Sun world, or at least in a section that no one goes to. But it is not... It's not up there at the top peak of Elbaf, so we don't know what's there. What are the odds that going up there could be the deciding moment for the entire country? I'm just saying. But we are done going over our just thoughts of this. It's time for a summary. See, this is the reason why I said I was terrified of Emu. Because we didn't know how far his powers were going to go, what all he was going to do. And he just cut through everyone. We got a long summary. Mind you, it's not as long as the last one. So... In an instant, Emu jumps down from the top of the castle and appears in the middle of Western Village, demanding to know who the king of Elbaf is. Dory and Brogy rebuke him, stating Elbaf has no king, but Emu ignores them as he notices Somers being held by Gerd. Without anyone ever seeing him, Emu swings his weapon and cuts off the tips of Gerd's thumb and index fingers to free Somers, and causing Gerd to fall back in shock and pain to the rage of everyone present. Somers reclaims his steel heart as Zoro confronts Emu, asking him if he is one of the Knights of God. Emu doesn't reply, but Haruddin says it doesn't matter as he is already an enemy for hurting Gerd like that. I agree. As he moves to attack, Stanzen warns him to stay back because they still don't know what Emu is capable of, and he ends up kicking him out of the way of Emu's attack and losing his right leg in the process. All the giants try to stay back from Emu as Zoro uses King of Hell 3-sword style Rengoku Onigiri to attack Emu, but Emu easily blocks it with his tail before following up with an attack of his own called Omen, which sees him conjure a small black flame that blasts Zoro away, to Chopper's worry. Seeing this, Haruddin attempts to attack Emu again, but Emu defeats him with another Omen and leaves the village covered in black flames. Emu then bestows an Omen onto Somers, to his delight as it heals him, and the two split up with Emu ordering Somers to finish the job. After they leave, Zoro is told to get inside the buildings that haven't transformed and gather up the injured and unconscious children. The sight of unfolding carnage left Jarl speechless for a moment. Later, Jarl issued a warning to the rest of Elbaf about Emu's presence and that his power is greater than the Knights of God, which means everyone still can't relax yet. As he flies, Emu notices Gunko and Ragnir's ice block and fires a black ball of flames at it from the bottom of his weapon, causing an explosion. At the lift, Gabin senses Emu's haki and says he has never felt it before, not even at God Valley. Meanwhile, Loki ends up charring the frozen food at the Walrus School to Luffy's displeasure, but Loki reasons they can't afford to be picky right now, especially since both of them sense Emu's haki and need to eat quickly to recover. Back with Sanji's group, Jinbei, who senses Emu's haki as well, fears he may try to rescue Killingham, and sure enough, Emu cuts Killingham loose from the tree and bestows an omen onto him to heal. Outraged, Sanji attacks Emu, but he easily blocks his kick with his own before kicking him away and causing another explosion. Then Loki confronts Emu and demands to know what he wants with Elbaf, to which Emu answered that he seeks Harold's killer, referred to him as his servant. Enraged, Loki rejects this statement, calling Harold the king of Elbaf and not Emu's servant before proclaiming that he is the killer that Emu is looking for. Emu remarks to Loki that if he hadn't been here, all of this trouble would have been avoided, prompting Loki to angrily respond that he has to deal with him if he wants to bring more harm to Elbaf. So quick notes, Emu frees Somers by cutting off the tips of Gerd's fingers. Somers retrieves his heart and is bestowed an omen from Emu, who orders Somers to finish the job. Imu severs Stanzin's right leg after the giant kicks Harudean out of the path of the attack. Zoro and Harudean attack Imu, but are both taken out by omens. Imu flies past where Gunko was frozen and frees her from Ragnir's ice block. Imu frees Killingham from the Straw Hats and bestows him with an omen. Sanji attacks Imu, but is blown away by Imu's own kick. And Loki confronts Imu for the second time, affirming that he is the one who killed Harold and the one for whom Imu is looking. So here's what I'm looking up. So we got the Akuma no Mi, Immortality, Abyss, Covenant, Omen. And here it's described as Omen is a black flame that the user can generate from their body or weapons with a variety of effects. As an offensive move, the flames transform into a small demon head that results in damage after contact with a specific target. However, when used on those branded with a Covenant, Omen takes the form of a floating, flaming halo that provides recovery and empowerment. Literally healing, instant healing. An omen refers to a foreboding signal in religion and mythology, which is often accompanied by great consequences that might be negative or positive, reflecting the technique's own damaging and supporting nature. So they can both harm and heal if he chose. They fill both of those roles. The technique was first demonstrated against Zoro and Harudean, who were victims of the first noted effect. The second effect was exhibited shortly after on a weakened Somers. This is... Now, mind you, like Flipdo said, it doesn't necessarily say that his devil fruit power, his power is the result of a devil fruit. But, I mean, his power does say devil's fruit. So unlike your normal devil fruits, his is on a completely different level. Now, you know what would be terrifying? You know what would be real terrifying? If Imu were to fight Blackbeard and Blackbeard was to take his power, and then Blackbeard has the power of Imu and everything that Imu can do. I know it's incredibly outlandish, but that would be crazy. So here's, let's see. Summary time. I really hope this is Chopper's time to shine. His chance to become the greatest doctor in the world by fixing Gurd's fingers. King of Hell just downgraded to become citizen. We went from king to prince. We went from king to squire. we went from king to cabin boy. We went from king to we went from king to stable boy all of a sudden. The same thing that took down King himself, took down King, took down Albert. This is, and the thing is, from king to stable boy. Right! Also, I wonder if we'll see Imu use that move which he did to block Sabo's fire whilst Imu's here. Here's the thing. Imu didn't block Sabo's fire. He ate it! Remember? Imu changed into some like big creature with jagged teeth and literally just ate his whole fire. He ate it. So I don't think having to block flames is something Imu needs to worry about, because he could just consume them. But then again, Sanji got spanked too. Yeah, he did. Like Ifrit Jamba, Diable Jamba, we just went into like a dish best served cold Jamba. It's like that was a cold Jamba all of a sudden. Sanji getting spanked by Imu was a given. Yeah, but seeing Zoro just getting swatted away, we haven't seen that happen to Zoro. We've seen Zoro face off against some incredibly strong people. The last person to give Zoro a true run for their money to the point where he had to get extra serious was King in Wano. It wasn't Lucci, it wasn't dealing with anyone else, it wasn't even Nasjuro, because Zoro used both his Kitetsu and Enma. He only used those two, he didn't use all three swords. The only other person to make Zoro get serious was King. And now we have the King going up against Zoro, and he just gets wiped. I don't know what else to say. This chapter was great, but it was also terrifying, and the last person to one-shot Zoro was Mihawk. Scopper said he never felt that kind of hockey. Yeah, that's another thing I needed to come back to. Scopper Gavin saying that he's never felt that hockey before at all. Not even when Rocks showed up to God Valley. Not when everyone was using their strongest attacks against Emu, which was just everyone using Conquerors when they could against Emu, and Emu just shrugged it off while he was possessing Saturn. And we can all collectively say, Emu is a he. The anime has been making us for a long time think like maybe there is a hint that Emu is a she, because the voice has a distortion with a female tone to it when you listen to it sometimes. But Emu is the one person that shows up, and Scopper's all like, this hockey, I've never felt this hockey before. Mind you, Scopper sailed on the strongest pirate crew ever. Mind you, Rox's crew and everyone, they were strong, but during Roger's time, that was the strongest, those were the strongest people. Even the Holy Knights couldn't stand up against them. But for Gabin, even in his advanced years, in his advanced age, says like, I've never felt hockey like this before, meaning that Roger's hockey is not even on, it was nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. So that's a terrifying thing. Scopper said he's never felt that kind of hockey, is already confirmed that nobody has a chance to win against Emu. The best they can do is make Emu retreat for some reason. And my thing is, Emu is probably not going to retreat because he is here to make Somers and everyone else finish the job they showed up to do. He personally showed up because he literally, like I said, the Thanos references are so real. Fine, I'll do it myself. He's here to make sure that the plan goes by without any more interruptions. When the final boss is tired of you meddling in their plans, that's when they show up. And Emu is here to make sure that you stop meddling. Lucky for him, he wasn't at Egghead to feel a small sample of Joy Boy's power. See, my thing is when it comes to Gabin, if he was there on Egghead, he would have said like, wow, what is this hockey? This is absolutely mesmerizing. What, this monstrous. For Emu. Now, here's the thing though. We're seeing all of this from Emu. And remember that Joy Boy's hockey hurts Emu. Remember, we're talking about how strong Emu is right now and everything that he's done. We still don't even have like a full spreadsheet of detail on what his powers are and what they fully encompass and what his power truly is. Is it a fruit or is it something beyond that? We still don't know. Everything we've seen from Emu from the moment he started showing power to even right now, and we still need to remember that Joy Boy's hockey eclipses Emu's. When your hockey causes someone else physical pain from just feeling it, your hockey is on a whole different level. I don't see anybody saying like, oh, this hockey is tremendous, but it's not like, oh, this hockey is hurting me. Hurting me? Just from me feeling it? Joy Boy's was leagues beyond Emu's. So it makes you wonder just how strong Joy Boy was for his hockey. 800 years later, to be unleashed from a single piece of rope to still harm Emu to this day, hundreds of miles away in Marijois. Usopp better be hiding right now because he wants problems and the problems is here now. Yeah, Usopp did say like, why are you letting all your underlings do this like a coward? And he was all like, oh, coward am I? And he was all like, Yeah, elders, I'm gonna be leaving for a minute. It's the equivalent of you saying over the phone, yeah, I bet you would come over here and try and start some stuff. And the person on the other end just says, all right. And then they hang up the phone. And they know where you live. And the next thing you know, you see a car outside. And the person inside. Then coming outside. And walking to your house. It is literally that! Usopp literally goaded the king of the world! And he answered! I heard you was talking that stuff, Usopp. What's good? Literally! It's either a situation where they have to retreat, or maybe run down the clock because we see Imu bleeding, and even in this chapter, Imu says there's little time. True. Imu did say that there's little time, so there has to be a limitation to how long Imu stays in this form. Because we all can tell, this is not Imu's base human state. This is his demon state. This is his Diablo from that time I got reincarnated as a slime form. So there's limited time. You know how Yuhabaha only had like a limited amount of time to be in the Serete during the first assault on the Serete during 1,000-Year Blood War? Like that. Only a certain amount of time. The Divine Quincy King regains his strength in 900 years. It is like the Divine King of the world regains his strength in 800 years. Gains the power to move in 80 years. Gains the power to imbue covenants in 8 years. And then gains the entire world in 8 days. Like, what? And we're not going on break seeing Imu basically body everyone? Where's that long-nosed chump who ran his mouth? You want to know something crazy? Usopp seems to be at the forefront of some of the biggest calamities we've seen. The first instance we saw was him burning down the flag of the world government at Enies Lobby. Then, much later on, him being seen as the orchestrator for the massive breakout and freedom of anyone who was taken over by Sugar's Devil Fruit ability. And Doflamingo putting a max star bounty on him. And now we have Usopp literally goading the king of the world to action. And now he's here. And people are already getting cut down. You see, sometimes when you a liar, you don't know how to keep your mouth closed. Sometimes. I don't know. Let's see. Also, we talk about Usopp. Can't wait for Usopp versus Dofi in a cross-guild final arc. Finding, welcome back. Good to see you. Also, Oda really either intentionally or unintentionally hyping up Dragon by showing us Imu and his power before we find out anything about Dragon. That's something. Hold on, I gotta do something real quick. My thing is, I don't even think we've seen the fullest extent of what Imu can do. It's the scary thing. Like, I want to know this of every single devil fruit in existence. This is the one I want to know the absolute most about. This is the one I want to learn the most about. I want to know the ins and outs of it. I want to know exactly how it works. I want to know its origins. I want to know just how strong it is. So for me, out of every devil fruit that we've seen, this is the one I want to learn about the most throughout all of One Piece. Nika, I understand that one. We get that one. Toon Force and everything that comes with it. The Needhogger fruit, I'm sure we'll learn more about it. But Imu's power, and mind you, I keep saying fruit, but let me just say Imu's power is the one I want to learn the most about because it has to be the most versatile fruit we have ever seen in this entire series, with powers that go beyond anything a single devil fruit can do. Being able to grant people immortality and an even stronger body, giving them omen rings that hover over them and allows them to instantly heal up, and also give them the ability to fly. the capabilities of creating gates for straight up physical teleportation across long distances. There, there's just so much. There's so much that I want to know. Hold on, let me just send this one thing. There we go. Okay. All right, cool. We're good. All right. So my thing is, what more can Emu do? In other words, Usopp, don't let your mouth write a check your behind can't cash. I'm more curious about the other god fruits. You're more curious about like, do you mean like the god knights, as in, Gunko and Killingham and Somers? Is that what you mean, Flipdo? Or are you saying like if there's a devil fruit, then you wonder if there's a god fruit? Or something of that nature? No, 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 no. Sun god, rain god, forest god. Oh. If fruits exist of those? Because if there was basically fruits for... He's probably talking about the mythical Zoan fruits with the name of gods. Gotcha, gotcha. So we have sun god Nika. The question is if we have devil fruits for rain god, forest god, and land gods. Oh, don't worry. I know you meant to say Zoan. I know you meant to say Zoan. So, oh my goodness. This was just this. So you know how in the solo leveling anime, when the Ant King basically started bodying all the S rank hunters, this was that. Emu was bodying everyone. How? Like, how do you beat this? How did Joy Boy beat this person? Well, Joy Boy didn't exactly beat him because Emu had to square up with like 20 whole extra kingdoms, with 19 whole extra kingdoms in order to bring down Joy Boy. That's how strong Joy Boy and his people were. How strong was Joy Boy that Emu needed help from 19 other nations in order to bring Joy Boy down? How strong was Joy Boy? How strong was Joy Boy for Joy Boy to put the fear of himself in Emu just from his haki 8 centuries later? Just stored haki from Joy Boy put Emu on his knees. How strong was Joy Boy? Just looking at these panels where Sanji tries to fight and fails. The real question is, how will Luffy accomplish this feat? I wonder if there are other fruits we may already know that might not be the fruit advertised, just like Gum Gum fruit isn't that? Yeah, that's a made up name for the Nika fruit. That is a good question. I wonder if there are other fruits that are out there that have a different classification in order to hide their true nature from people who may want to get their hands on it. Now, my money says that the Nika fruit is probably the only one we know of, the most important one that we know of thus far, simply because it was the fruit that Joy Boy himself was using. My theory has been that Zoan fruit transformations are the counter to Emu's devils. That's why Loki's, Luffy's, and Chopper's Needhogger, Nika, and monster transformations countered Reversi. So you want to know what comes to mind? I think it's just, yeah, I have to agree with you, because going off of what Flipdo says, remember how the elders stated that awakened Zoan devil fruits almost behave as if they have a will of their own. So, what's to say that the reason why Domi Reversi does not work on Luffy and Loki is because as Zoans, especially mythical Zoans, that secondary will of the fruit itself is one that Domi Reversi can't get past because it's like Domi Reversi may be able to override the will of one individual, but what if that person possesses two wills? The will of themselves and the will of the Zoan devil fruit that they possess. So what if that's the reason why Domi Reversi doesn't work on Loki and Luffy? Due to that specific statement. Now, we haven't seen it done to Chopper, but if it doesn't work, if Imu tries to Domi Reversi, and here's the thing, Imu's in front of the rest of the Straw Hat crew, okay? The rest of the Straw Hat crew is nearby the school and the library, which is exactly where they're nearby the school, which is exactly where Imu decided to jump down to. And he's just there. If Imu wanted to start destroying the school instantly, he could. Now, mind you, he could destroy the library because Biblo is gone, and so are the books. So thinking that destroying the library means that all the history of Elbaf will be gone, yeah, good luck with that. Question, where is Biblo? All the books of Elbaf and Ohara are gone from the entire library, and its librarian is gone too, to places unknown. I would not be surprised if Biblo flew to the top of Elbaf in order to keep all that stuff safe. What are the odds that if we go up to the top of Elbaf, that's exactly where Biblo is? Wouldn't that be funny? And for all the Buggy fans out there, the Chop Chop fruit is not one of them. Who's thinking that the Chop Chop fruit is a Zoan? What animal you know chop itself into pieces and then can reattach them? I imagine that because they already have sentient devil souls inside them, they can't be affected by their influence, at least when transformed. That's a very good point. See, I feel like with Imu, we might get another lesson on devil fruit powers outside of Vegapunk. Because with Vegapunk, he had a hypothesis of what devil fruits are and what they were. His scientific hypothesis. But who better to explain the nature of devil fruits than a literal devil himself, who has had this power for 800 years? I have always imagined Buggy's Chop Chop fruit is one of the god fruits that is the only fruits that has a passive ability. Yeah, see, Chop Chop fruit is not the only one, though, because you have the Slip Slip fruit, where Alvida is permanently in a slippery state. Because now I'm thinking, Alvida, as far as I know, Alvida is in a constant state of Slip Slip. But not to the point where she can't sit down or she's slipping off of different things. But I think it's just her skin, specifically. Just specifically her skin. But that is a good question. I really do hope we get like a bit of a exposition of Emu's views of what devil fruits are and what those powers are. I really do hope we get that. Man, next Sunday! See, this is the reason why, if I was to say Chop Chop fruit is the rain god Zoan, that'd be funny if Buggy's devil fruit was a Zoan this whole time. That would be hilarious. Her skin specifically, meanwhile, Buggy's includes his clothes. That's true. It affects his entire state, clothes included. Like that one time he got chopped to pieces by Mihawk and his whole body just piecemealed itself right back together again. That is a good point. It'd be funny, because it would just be another example of Buggy failing upwards. But it would be, if it turns out, it would be hilarious. If it doesn't turn out that way, I'd say I wasn't surprised. But if it turns out to be that way, just on the offhand chance, I'd laugh. I would laugh at it. Because Buggy just be getting his hands on stuff without really trying all that much. And everyone's all like, how'd he get his hands on a god-tier devil fruit now? It'd be funny. It would be funny. It would be funny. But we'll have to see. Ladies and gentlemen, This was a terrifying, destructive chapter, as Emu showed everyone not the full extent of his power, but just casually dismantled everyone who tried to face him. Sanji, Zoro, Harudin, Stanzin, Gerd, anyone who tried to stand up against him got swatted. Buggy, by the way, is the exact opposite of Luffy in every way. The exact opposite. While I don't think Buggy has a god fruit, it would be in Buggy's character to have accidentally eaten a god fruit and never know about it. And be the only person with a god fruit in One Piece to never fully realize it and or train. Because Buggy is the exact same person he was since the time skip. The only thing he's learned how to do is to make himself look bigger by basically wearing a big old bed sheet that works really well with his devil fruit power. That's the only thing we've seen him work on. We've never seen him attempt to awaken his devil fruit because he could chop the entire, if he wanted to, he chopped the entire area if it was something that he could do or tried. And blame Shanks for getting it. Yeah, and also Ozzy, yeah, a catastrophic 10 out of 10 chapter. Emu just showed his power. Not the fullest extent of it, but enough to deal with everyone casually. Emu just had his Thrag moment. Grand Regent Thrag. Because for me, him just bodying everyone just cements him as literally one of the greatest obstacles that needs to be overcome if the world is ever going to be free. And if he is not one of the obstacles, I see him as the final big boss. Sure, Blackbeard is in the mix, but I honestly feel like Emu is the end boss to get past. Because if you get past Emu, Blackbeard might as well be light work in comparison. I don't care if he's got the Yami Yami or Gura and Gura no Mi. Emu has already shown that, yeah, the powers that he has, he's end boss. He's the end boss. But that's all I got. I was a slight bit disappointed because the amount of reactions Chopper was getting to the carnage felt to me like a hype up to him awakening by the final panel. No. See, that's where you set yourself up for failure. Seeing Chopper's reactions here, I mean, remember, Chopper's not the type to be like suddenly get like a superpowered boost in the midst of seeing his friends getting ravaged. That is Luffy. Luffy's the one who gets like a superpower after seeing his friend getting messed up and everything. Chopper, however, is still part of the cowardly trio, and therefore, while he can have his many brave moments, clearly not here at the time where he's seeing people getting sliced apart. I was talking about this with Roger. Imagine Emu returning to Marijois and he finds Blackbeard sitting on the throne, and then Blackbeard says, "I told you I'd return." Like, wouldn't that be crazy work if while Emu is gone, Blackbeard makes his move and just shows up and he's there in Marijois? My body couldn't even handle just the thought. Wouldn't it be? Because remember, Blackbeard doing something. He doing something in the background. We don't know what he doing. Yeah, Katarina Devon just touched Saturn before he died. So now she can basically turn into him, because we all know that's exactly what she intends to do, because that's what she did to Absalom. It's not about his friends being injured, it's about medicine. Carnage like that is fully against everything Chopper stands for, especially since he's been caring for them as his patients. That's true. Because I'm not gonna downplay Chopper here, though. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not gonna downplay Chopper here, though. But I don't know if this is the moment for Chopper to have like a sudden boost in power at this time. Because there could be some apprehension if you're seeing some of the strongest people on your crew getting tossed aside like they're nothing. So there could be a little bit of apprehension. And mind you, we really haven't seen Chopper get like a bit of a boost in terms of his own capabilities in quite a minute. Last time we saw something was him just slightly basically extending the period of him being in Monster Point thanks to some help from Caesar, but it left him in old man chibi chopper mode. That's a drawback, but we haven't seen him get like a substantial boost to his strength, or maybe even figure out a new way to use Monster Point in a way more destructive, way more powerful way. Haven't seen that. So for this arc, it would be nice if either Usopp, Brook, or Chopper gets an upgrade. I didn't include Frankie because he just learned about Super Vega Cola. So Frankie already got an upgrade. The fact that Frankie got an upgrade in an arc that should be for Usopp is crazy to me. But Usopp, Chopper, Brook, they need some updates to the moveset. But we'll have to see. But overall, this was a really good chapter. At least I don't remember Frankie getting a new thing. The only Frankie didn't get anything during Egghead, which should have been the perfect time for him to get some cybernetic upgrades from the most technologically advanced spot in the entire world. Frankie didn't even get anything for Wano. Frankie got something here. Learning about Super Vega Cola. He learned how he can supercharge himself with Vegapunk. That's something for Frankie, so he got something new. It took many years, but he finally got something new. But Usopp, Chopper, and Brook, they need some new stuff. Mind you, we actually saw some new stuff with Brook back in Wano when he was helping Robin with Black Maria and her maidens. That's it. But Chopper and Usopp, they haven't had anything. So we'll have to see. I don't even think Blackbeard could beat Emu, though, at least for right now. But then again, it would be off-screen, so I guess it'd be in his favor. There ain't no way you're going to have Blackbeard go up against Emu and off-screen it. There would be no way. It wasn't crazy for me. It made sense since Vegapunk didn't have a chance to look at Frankie's body or creations. It makes sense they got the chance after leaving Egghead. That's true. He also needs some new stuff. I mean, if the Straw Hats are going to train after this, this is a way for him to get some new cybernetic upgrades since there is a laboratory there on Elbaf. That's true. There is a laboratory. It's old, but it also still functions after all these years. And Lilith is there, and not to mention, she is working on getting the facilities running so that way she can revive the clone of Vegapunk. Like OG Vegapunk. So it's probably best for Lilith to stay out of sight right now, so that way Emu doesn't realize that one of the Vegapunks is still up. Wow, because as far as Emu knows, York is the only Vegapunk left. Lilith needs to stay out of sight so that Emu doesn't realize that there's still another Vegapunk out there in the world. Because things would get crazy awkward with Emu there. But we'll have to see. I carried on for way too long. My bad, everybody. There was just so much from this that I had to get out. But this was a really good chapter. And the fact that we're not going on break after all of this is crazy. I'm trying to fast forward so I can fully catch up. I'm pretty, that's not, I couldn't even possibly answer that even if I tried. Don't my bad us, we like talking for as long as possible. True, but I still got Sakamoto days, and I got food on the way, and then I got the newest episode to react to, and then some other things I need to take care of for the rest of the day as well. But, yeah, yeah. So now my question is, what is the next chapter going to do for us? I am so curious about that. Because Emu just showed up and just bodied everybody. Everyone. And now we were about to have Loki versus Emu. So now it's time to see just how strong Loki is in comparison to Emu in terms of them fighting each other and where things are going to go from here. Because if Luffy gets his strength back and he's at 100%, oh my goodness. And it's like Ozzy said earlier on, Oda didn't just cook. He put his foot in the cooking. But that's all I got. That's all I got. Whew. If I missed anything or if I missed anything, I hope Loki gets reversied. What for? It's already been shown that it don't work on him. You're the second person to say, like, what if Loki gets reversied? You're saying you hope he gets reversied. I don't think it's happening. Because we already saw that he tried that and it didn't work. So that's pretty much, I feel like that's pretty much out of the window. Imu tried, but it didn't work. Only in Needhogger form, so why would him being in his normal human state be any different? It's not like the power subsides when he's in his human state. He still has that power within him. It's the only way that Usopp can get that Usopp hammer. Oh, you're saying you want him to get reversied so that Usopp can use Ragnir. I see what you're doing here. You had me in the first half, I ain't gonna lie. But overall, good chapter, and I'm looking forward to next week's. Imu isn't there to Domi Reversi Loki, he's there to kill him. Yeah, he's there to kill him. So now it's time to see the strength of an ancient giant. An ancient giant with the power of the largest dragon versus the king of the world and the power of the devil. This is going to be a crazy fight because both of these individuals can use conquerors against each other. And clearly, Loki knows how to use conquerors in conjunction with his attacks, meaning that his ability to comprehend the use of conqueror's haki with his attacks is already knows how to use that application. So seeing these two, not true they wanted Loki to join the God Knights, remember that? Yeah. And he said no. You think Imu's gonna try and make him? Loki already has it in for Imu because he had to kill his own father. Because of Imu. Loki gonna fight tooth and nail against Imu. This ain't gonna be like a fight where it's all like, well, I beat you now. Now you have no choice but to serve me. No, I don't think it's gonna go that smoothly. I don't think it's even gonna get close to that. I don't think it's even gonna get close to that with Imu trying his best to get Loki to work under him, either by force or whatever. I don't think it's gonna get that far. Given Loki's rebellious nature, I do not think it's gonna get that far. But you never know with Oda's writing, so I don't want to write off the possibility. So we'll see in the next chapter exactly what Imu intends with Loki as this fight is about to get started. And that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Time for me to move on to Sakamoto Days with everyone here from Flipdo to Finding to Ozzy to Cohagen to CDs and Van and everyone else in between. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even check out my membership and Patreon because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples! Hopefully, if the family doesn't show up when I'm reacting to it, on to Sakamoto Days!